Weekend. Thank you, my friend. Melissa.
You too.
So the Labor Department releasing their monthly jobs report earlier today, announcing an increase of 151,000 jobs for the month of August, with the unemployment rate at 4.9%, missing expectations there on both ends. Here now are Kevin Kelly of Recon Capital Partners, Paul Aversano of Alvarez and Marsal's Private Equity, and John Lonsky, Chief Economist at Moody's. Thanks to all of you for joining us. Paul, let me start with you. At what point do you think the market stops rallying on bad news, or essentially bad news, maybe tepid news, on the idea that the Fed isn't going to raise rates?
Well, I think that party is going to end quite shortly. I think if you look at the jobs number from today, clearly it was disappointing relative to expectations, and I think what that's doing is creating further uncertainty in the market relative to other things, such as the upcoming election, Brexit, and a whole bunch of other factors. So pretty soon.
John, what did you make of this report? I mean, it fell short. We look at the number of people that have dropped out of the workforce and said they're not even trying any longer. That number is staggering. What do you make of it?
The most important aspect has to be the fact we created only 126,000 new jobs in the private sector. I don't think these recent gains in government employment are going to last. It could be that looking ahead, jobs growth goes down to a range of 100,000 to 125,000 jobs. The unemployment rate quits falling, and consumer spending slows as a result.
Kevin, I think back to the days when we took growth of 3 and 4% for granted. Now it seems like that couldn't possibly happen ever again in our lifetime. What would we have to do to create that?
Right now we know that the Fed is really limited in the tools that they can use to stoke a lot of growth in the economy, and we're seeing that come out through a lot of their speeches themselves. And it's not just a Fed problem, it's a global growth problem that the world is having, and central banks across the world are talking about that. But the real issue we have here is, what can the Fed do next time should they need to deploy some of their monetary policies to stimulate growth? Right now we're not seeing them stoke it above the 3% that you talked about. So that's why people are worried about negative interest rates or other monetary tools that they may need to do to stoke growth.
Yeah, Paul, I mean, is that the Fed's job, to go out there and stoke growth?
Not necessarily, but I can tell you, when you look at what happened with the jobs report today, I think that the biggest thing and the biggest takeaway for the people watching the show is really confidence. I think the jobs report today sent mixed signals, and it's eroding confidence in the underlying economy. And I think that's one of the things that the Fed is struggling with when looking at raising rates, a sort of lack of confidence in the underlying economy, and that it's got legs.
Yeah, John, do you agree with that? And you know, why would you have confidence in the underlying economy right now?
Precisely. Where's the impetus? Where is the lift of spending going to come from? Of late, we have had quite a sluggish pace of business sales, and already businesses have cut back on capital spending in response to flat revenues, and we could be beginning to see the early signs of a curbing of hiring activity in response to sluggish sales. And of course, if we don't have more hiring activity, consumer spending, which is one of the principal supports of U.S. and global economic activity, will slow down noticeably.
All right, gentlemen, thank you. David.
Well, Samsung saying they have